Hello. Odysseus is home. Isn't that cute? Okay, so let's recap what happened in book 16, and then I'll introduce book 17 of, you guessed it, Homer's The Odyssey. All right, so book 16, we have Odysseus. He is staying at the swineherd Eumaeus's house, and Eumaeus is so hospitable. He has invited him in, given him a comfy place to sit, given him food and all that jazz. He has given him the lowdown of what is happening at Odysseus's house. But does he know that that right there is Odysseus? No, he does not. But guess who does? We, the audience, know, and that's called dramatic irony. I love it. It's a great device. Okay, so in walks Telemachus, right? And it's funny because the dogs, Eumaeus's dogs, they're pretty yappy. We saw that with the previous book with Odysseus. He comes in and the dogs are like, rah, 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 and Eumaeus has to be like, calm down, dogs. But with Telemachus, who is just back from Sparta, Telemachus, the dogs don't bark. What does that tell us? We have to make an inference here. It tells us that Telemachus is well known at Eumaeus's house. It tells us that Telemachus probably has spent a lot of time here, and the dogs know him very, very well. So Telemachus walks right on up in here, and Eumaeus is like, my son! And they embrace and they weep, and he's like, oh, I'm so glad you're back. And Odysseus is watching, and he gets the sense that this man has raised his son for him. Oh, right in the feels. Okay, so they catch up, and Telemachus tells them all about, okay, I was at Sparta, I saw Menelaus and Helen. You remember her. She's fun. And all that jazz. And he's like, I got news of my father and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, Telemachus says, okay, I need you. Oh, who's that? And he notices the beggar. And he says, oh, no, don't get up, sir. So the beggar, Odysseus, is like getting up, and he's getting up, trying to move to make room for Telemachus. And Telemachus is like, oh, no, sir. And so we get a sense of who Telemachus is as a person. He's a very hospitable person. He cares and is compassionate about others. He doesn't just go in barreling in expecting things. He's not an entitled person, even though he is a prince. He's the Prince of Ithaca. So you would think he would have a little bit of entitlement, but no. Pretty awesome. Anyway, so Telemachus comes in, and Eumaeus tells Telemachus, okay, this guy's from Crete, and he's got a story to tell you. I was up all night hearing this story. Man, you gotta hear about it. And Telemachus is like, great. Okay, I'll hear what he has to say, but I need you, Eumaeus, to go to my mom, and I need you to be quiet about it. I need you to tell her that I'm back from Sparta safely, but I need you to avoid the suitors. They don't need to know that I'm back. I know that they've been plotting to kill me. Yikes. Okay, so Eumaeus goes, and Athena, as Telemachus is whisking Eumaeus away, Athena appears to Odysseus, and she's like, hey, you gotta tell Telemachus who you are. And Odysseus is like, do I have to? She's like, you gotta do it. So here comes Odysseus, and here comes Telemachus, and we're gonna have a moment, okay? And all of a sudden, Odysseus is like, I am your father. And we don't get that whole Luke Skywalker, no moment. We do not, no. Then Athena takes off the disguise, and Odysseus is brand spanking new. He's shiny, he's sparkly, and Telemachus freaks out. He's like, oh, you must be a god. And Odysseus is like, no. I'm not a god, I promise. I am your dad, and I'm the one who left you alone all these years. And I thought that moment was pretty touching, actually. I mean, here's Odysseus. He's back after 20 whole years. 20! And he has gone through some stuff, okay? I mean, granted, some stuff was kind of nice. You know, the whole year he spent drinking wine and whatnot at Circe's hall. That was pretty nice. Calypso, I'm sure there was some great moments. But he's been through some stuff. He lost all of his crew a couple times, actually. He was almost eaten by a cyclops. He got boulders thrown at him by the Lastrygonis. I mean, like, goodness. He was almost swallowed up by Charybdis, for heaven's sake. And so, Man, this guy's been through a lot, but he chooses in this moment, and this is very characterizing. He chooses in this moment to acknowledge the hurt that he has bestowed upon his son, Telemachus. And I'm like, wow. Oh, that's amazing. So then Telemachus, he's like, no, you can't be my dad. And Odysseus is like, listen here, I'm the only dad you're ever gonna get. And all of a sudden Telemachus is like, Daddy! And they embrace and they weep. I mean, there's a lot of weeping in the scene. And I actually really appreciated that. Because I feel like sometimes in American society, we have this expectation that men are supposed to be macho and we don't cry and rub some dirt on it or whatever. And really we see a lot of crying in the Odyssey. Did you know that? I mean, in the very first scene, we see Odysseus crying. He's crying on the beach on Calypso's island. And he's like, I want to go home. Yeah, I get it. And then we see Eumaeus crying whenever Telemachus arrives, and he's like, you're back from Sparta, I missed you. And they're crying, and they're actually, it says they're kissing. You know, kissing maybe like, you know, all over the face, you see. But yeah, two men kissing. Isn't that amazing? And then we see Odysseus and Telemachus. They're crying and for good reason. They've been separated for 20 whole years. Telemachus has a lot of emotion in this moment. And then we even see Odysseus crying over his dog. And so there is a lot of crying in the Odyssey. And I actually really appreciate that. It is okay to cry, especially with all these circumstances. I would cry if my dog died too. Yeah. Anyway, so we see a lot of crying. So Telemachus is like, okay, so here's the situation. We've got over 100 suitors, and that's not even counting their attendants and their servants. How are we going to beat these guys? And Odysseus is like, okay, get this. You heard of Zeus? You heard of Athena? We got this. And Telemachus is like, okay. And so here is the thing that they're going to do. Here's the plan. We've got Telemachus. He's going to wait for Odysseus to nod. Subtle. Yeah. And Telemachus is going to lock up all of the weapons because you don't want a bunch of suitors, angry suitors with weapons. No, you don't. So Telemachus is going to go lock those up, okay? And then Odysseus is going to be with Eumaeus, and they're going to go into the town square, if you will, and get the lay of the land. They're going to understand the suitors better. What is their deal? Are there any loyal people around anymore who are loyal to Odysseus's cause? That is what we're going to do. Now, at this point, Eumaeus comes back, and guess what? Odysseus is back in the disguise of the beggar. Eumaeus does not know that this is Odysseus, but we, the reader, know, and that's called, again, dramatic irony. All right, so that's what's going on. And so now in book 17, we are going to get Eumaeus and Odysseus. They're going to go into the town square and see what's going on with these suitors. What's up with Penelope? How's she been doing in these 20 years? Does she still hold on hope for Odysseus's return? All right, so be looking forward to that in book 17.